Inside the chamber, you find another vat of dissolving body parts. Suddenly, horrific creatures spew forth from the vat. Their slimy tentacles grab at your throats as mouths full of teeth and ichor gnaw your flesh. Hey guys, welcome back to Black Magic Craft. It is October. Halloween is approaching, and that means every DM could probably use some new nasty creature to terrify their players. After reviewing the Rolemaker from Green Stuff World, I was inspired to create a nasty new monster. I broke out my green stuff and my sculpting tools, and I set to work making these disgusting little creatures. I don't know what they are, and that doesn't matter. I just wanted to build something new and interesting and gross looking using that Rolemaker, and I think I succeeded. So let's take a look at how I made these, and then at the end of the video, let's figure out what the heck they actually are. These creatures were made almost entirely of green stuff, so I had to start by mixing some of that up. One tip to keep in mind when working with this putty is that on the roll, the two parts actually touch in the middle, and that means over time, that will create a little strip of cured material that will end up as chunks once you mix it. So it's a good idea to cut out a little strip where the two colors meet before mixing. I began the sculpt with the tentacles. To do this, I made small balls of green stuff and rolled them out into little rods. To create an intestine-like texture on the putty, I used my Rolemaker from greenstuffworld.com. Now, I've previously reviewed this tool in detail if you want to check it out, and they gave me a promo code for my viewers to get a discount when purchasing anything on their site. I'll drop that in the description below. Now, to create the pattern that I wanted, I used a large plate on one side and a small plate on the other. This difference of size will give some interesting variation to the ring sizes and make the tentacles look more organic rather than machine made. It's important to keep some water on the Rolemaker to stop the green stuff from sticking to it. I bent the tentacles into some interesting shapes and left them to cure while I moved on to sculpting the rest of the monsters. I wanted these creatures to look like puddles of meat that basically only had eyes, a mouth, and tentacles. I applied a mound of green stuff to my favorite Reaper bases that I use for all my minis. Now, I would really love to break down all the sculpting steps for you so you could follow along and recreate your own, but that's sort of impossible to do on this type of a project. There isn't a very technical approach to how I do this, and I'm by no means an expert sculptor. When doing this sort of thing, I will just grab a sculpting tool and keep shaping the material until it starts to look how I want. A creature like this is very forgiving. There's really no wrong way to do it. I created an open mouth, used some micro beads for eyes, created a little bit of a tongue, and just scratched up the surface to give the flesh some sort of texture. I cut off really tiny tips of some toothpicks and used them for teeth. And I also created little indents in the putty where I would later be able to glue the tentacles. Creating these little recessed spots for the tentacles would make the connection a lot stronger than just trying to glue them to the surface. And it would also make them look more like they were part of the same body rather than something that was just tacked on. After the green stuff had all cured a little bit, enough that I could handle the sculpts without squishing them, I was able to do the fun part of attaching the tentacles. Because of my prep work in the sculpting, this was a simple matter of super gluing them in place. I prepared my minis for paint by attaching them to some corks with poster tack and putting them in my corkboard from shiftinglands.com, and taking them to the basement to spray them with a white aerosol primer. The weather in Winnipeg is already starting to get crappy, so it's officially annoying to rattle can things season. This is where the project takes a turn for the frustrating, and the video gets a little bit more interesting. I've been trying to learn the art of airbrushing and thought this project would be a great candidate for using the kit I recently picked up. But as usual, since starting using it, I ran into problems. I barely managed to get one mini painted before things went, well, from bad to worse. I don't know what the hell my problem is with this airbrush. I bought this Masters airbrush kit off of Amazon. Comes with a compressor, comes with a cheap airbrush. Other people have used it, said it's all right. I'm sure the compressor is fine, and I really wanted it to be an awesome, viable, cheap option that I could recommend to you guys because it was really affordable. But the truth is, I've used this thing only a handful of times, and every time I fight with it. I clean it really well, put water or brush cleaner, airbrush cleaner through it. It's spraying beautifully. The second I use paint, within 10 seconds, it's clogged or screwed up, not spraying. I don't know what it is. I know airbrushes have a learning curve, but you know, I'm not stupid and I've been working with tools for a long time. And today, this one is really pissing me off. Couldn't get it going properly. Took off the little tip with the little wrench to try to clean it out, went to put it back on, and it just snapped. So it just broke off, and yeah, airbrushing has not been going well for me. I don't know if I got a dud, or if I did something wrong, or if the product's actually not good. Really disappointing. Really wanted this to be a good product. So yeah, what do you think? I'm gonna contact the company, see if they'll send me a replacement or what. But anyways, let's just get back to the good old-fashioned paintbrush. So there's actually some updates on this. I did two things. I contacted the manufacturer and I also reached out to the community for help and recommendations. I think some of the problem that I've been having is because I've been trying to thin and mix the paint within the cup of the airbrush, which is normally fine, but the design of this particular airbrush makes that problematic. The company actually got back to me pretty quickly about my problem, but they basically said, too bad, so sad. You broke a piece, it's your own fault, buy some new parts. I wasn't really happy with that, and I'm not the type of person to invest good money after bad when it comes to tools, so I decided, based on the community's recommendations, to try out an Iwata Eclipse. After I get my hands on one of those and play with it for a while, I'll let you guys know if the problem turned out to be the tool or just my fault all along. So anyways, jumping back to a paintbrush, I base coated these guys using Vallejo's Gory Red. This is such a fantastic color, it's so vibrant, and it perfectly emulates a demonic bag of flesh. Next, I gave them a wash using Citadel's Agrax Earthshades. This is a really lazy way to bring out all the details in a sculpt. I painted the eyes using Vallejo's Sun Yellow and the teeth with Vallejo's Bone White. I also applied some sepia wash to the teeth to make them a little bit more gnarly and yellow looking. I repainted the ring of the bases using a basic black craft paint. I find this step really important to finish a piece off. You could of course choose to paint out the base the same color as the creatures, but I enjoy the way the distinct black base separation looks. To me, it's kind of like a picture frame around a painting. I wanted these things to look proper gross and slimy, so I didn't coat them using my usual matte varnish. Instead, I coated them in a gloss varnish. To add even more grossness, I mixed up some 5-minute epoxy with a bit of gory red paint. I applied this to the minis and gave it a few minutes to start to cure. Using a sacrificial brush, I created some smears and tendrils of bloody goo. And while I wanted the minis to look wet and shiny, I did not want the black ring of the base to be so glossy. I gave that a coat of Brush On Vallejo matte varnish, since it would be difficult to mask and spray just the base. I think these turned out really great, and this type of creature is an ideal starting place for anyone wanting to try their hand at miniature sculpting for the first time. You could make these tentacles without the Rollmaker tool. I've heard of people successfully using hair combs instead, but the Rollmaker definitely makes it easier. Again, I'll put a link to it and the promo code in the video description. This video was not sponsored by Green Stuff World. I was just really inspired by using the tool. If you want to pick up any other crafting supplies, check out blackmagiccraft.ca. That's where I have links to all of the stuff that I use and recommend, and buying through those affiliate links helps fund these videos. If you really like what I do and you want to help me keep doing it, the best way you can do that is by supporting Blackmagic Craft on Patreon. Those funds play a major role in allowing me to put out regular content and focus all of my efforts into this channel. Check it out. I'd love to have you as the newest member of the Blackmagic Craft Fellowship. Well, disgusting monster sculpt complete. I think it is a success. I'm pretty happy with these. But what are they? What are these creatures? Are they weird flesh-eating demons? Are they monsters made of humanoid intestines and body parts by a mad wizard? I don't know. They could be any manner of creatures to suit the theme of your game. Originally, I thought that I would stat these out and share those stats with you guys, but I think you can probably come up with something even cooler than me. So I would like you all to comment below with what this creature is. Even if you just want to give it a name and a story and maybe some abilities, or if you want to stat it out, go nuts. I'd really like to see what you guys come up with. And I'm sure all the viewers would love to read through the various comments to find something inspiring from within them. I like these. These are freaking cool. I'll see you guys again next week. Cheers.